We interrupted an important experiment in progress.
I am Chucky.
Pennywise the ants.
You will coming to get you, Barbara.
I want to play a game.
Hello everyone, Joshua Myers here, and welcome back to another review for this year's 31 Days of Halloween Review series. And today I'm going to be reviewing yet another classic here, and that is the original Poltergeist from 1982.
Poltergeist. Newsweek magazine calls it a spectacular ghost story.
They're here.
Pat Collins of CBS TV says Steven Spielberg has done it again. A jump out of your seats hit.
What is it?
Full of honest thrills and spine-snapping chills, says Time magazine. Poltergeist. It knows what scares you. Poltergeist. Rated PG.
Now playing at a theater near you. Check newspapers.
Poltergeist stars Joe Beth Williams,
Craig T. Nelson, Zelda Rubinstein, Heather O'Rourke, and is directed by Toby Hooper. The plot of Poltergeist is that, playful at first, but not for long, a storm erupts, a tree attacks, and little Carol Ann, portrayed by Heather O'Rourke, is whisked into a spectral void as her family confronts horrors galore. Something else is here too, a new benchmark in Hollywood ghost stories. Now, before I get into this review, I would like to say is I've never reviewed the original Poltergeist before. I never, even on my main channel. I reviewed Poltergeist 2, 3, and the remake. I never reviewed this. And that always kind of struck me as odd. And I was looking into it, and I think I know why. Because here's the thing. I love this movie. Those are kind of my thoughts already spoiled, but I love this movie. In fact, this right here, this was my first ever horror film. This is what got me into horror. I was like 12 years old at the time, and yeah, this was my introduction. And boy, what a way to go. What a way to introduce someone into horror. And I think I know why I've never reviewed this film up until now. One is, what else can be said about this movie that no one else has said on the internet? It's amazing. It's an amazing movie. Second of all, I think it's because I've always been intimidated to review this movie because it's produced by one of my film idols, Steven Spielberg. And yes, I said produce. There's this kind of like thing about who really directed it, Toby Hooper or Steven Spielberg. Like, Steven Spielberg ghost directed this movie and still gave Toby Hooper the credit. So there's been this long ongoing debate, and to be honest, I'm going to put the debate to rest. Toby Hooper directed Poltergeist. And the reason I think that is because, well, look at films like Back to the Future, which was directed by Robert Zemeckis and was produced by Steven Spielberg as well. And that film also has a kind of Spielberg-esque vibe to it. But you hear no one saying that Steven Spielberg ghost directed Back to the Future. No one says that. Struck me as kind of odd. So, putting that to bed, Toby Hooper directed this film, not Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg going to produce the film. I guess I've always been kind of intimidated by that because, again, Steven Spielberg is one of my filmmaker idols. In fact, Steven Spielberg was the guy who inspired me to want to make movies. Yeah, he's the main reason why I want to be a director, actually. And the first film that started that for me was Jurassic Park. I was like 4 or 5 years old, probably too young to watch the film, but, you know, and I fell in love with that. That was the first thing where it's like, you know what, this is what I want to do. And I've been doing that. So, yeah, I guess I've always felt kind of intimidated by this because A, it was my introduction to horror. B, what else can be said about it that no one else, like, that everyone else hasn't said? And C, it's produced by my idol, by my film idol. If it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be doing films right now. So, I owe a lot of thanks to Steven Spielberg for my career in that regard. But yeah, so, what can I say, really? For one, it's just a great movie. I'm not going to do the whole positives, negatives, all that stuff, unless if I think of something, but because I absolutely love this film. So this is kind of going to be structured a bit differently than some of my other reviews, and that is because, well, the one thing I guess I will say is I love the cast. I love the cast. I love, I think all the cast members do really well. Even the child actors like Heather O'Rourke, which unfortunately you guys don't know, a few of the actors in this movie passed away not long after. The older sister, I don't know her name. I'll put her name in here. She passed away shortly after filming this movie, and yeah, that's just really tragic. And also too, the actress who played Carol Ann, Heather O'Rourke, she passed away shortly after filming Poltergeist 3, and and just, a lot of people have passed away from this movie, who were in this movie, either long after or shortly after, and there's this whole rumor about whether or not the Poltergeist franchise is cursed or whatever because of that, and honestly, I don't think so. I personally don't think the Poltergeist franchise is cursed because, and a lot of people always say that in regards to films that deal with the supernatural or demonic presence or whatever, because even things happened on the set of the original Omen film, The Exorcist, and those are tragic situations, but I don't think it is because those films are cursed, personally. In fact, there are plenty of films, go onto Shudder, and there's a series called Cursed Films, and one of the films they mention of, tragedies and stuff like that is The Wizard of Oz. Yeah, The Wizard of Oz. With the Cowardly Lion, Dorothy, all of them. Yeah, that film is apparently cursed, and some of the actors have died in that, and they believe. But that doesn't deal with, the supernatural or, demonic entities. So how do you explain something like Wizard of Oz then? That's debunked, I think. I think all of these were just horrible circumstances, coincidences. And I would like to give a moment, for us to pay respects to all the people involved in the Poltergeist movies, especially this one, who have passed away tragically, like Heather O'Rourke in them. So, moment silence of them. I will pop up each of these actors. I guess just say kind of a bit of a ceremonial tribute to all of them, out of respect. So, a moment of silence for all the people who passed away for this film. They will be missed. Like I said, I like the actors. They all do a great job. Honestly, no one in this film gives a terrible performance at all. I would say some of the weaker performances might be some of the side characters, but those are just nitpicks. They're not important to the story really. But even then, they're not awful, terrible. And yeah, I love the characters too. They really get you to get to know this family and start to care for them, so that when something does happen to them, and what happens to Carol Ann and that, it does, you feel for them, you understand their pain they're going through in that, and wanting to get their family back and everything like that. And I will admit, there were moments in this film that actually did tear up a bit, and that's because the performances are so strong, the script is so strong, that I bought into everything. Bought into their emotions, I bought into their family dynamic, all that stuff. Oh, I love the music. The music is composed by a composer by the name of Jerry Goldsmith, which, if you don't know, he also composed the music to the original The Omen, which again, I still have not seen The Omen. I got the Omen collection set from Scream Factory over there. Maybe one of these days I'll watch and review the Omen franchise. But yeah, so he composed that. Apparently he also composed the music to the original animated Mulan. And the music for Poltergeist is great. I would honestly personally love to have the soundtrack to Poltergeist here in the collection. I also really dug the special effects. Now, for the most part, all the special effects are practical. I'm not sure how much are, well, all of them are practical, because CGI wasn't really a thing in 1982. So yeah, all of them were practical, and I'm like, the effects still hold up to this day. I mean, I could maybe think of some that might be not looks as good as others, but that would just be nitpicking, because even the not so good looking ones look pretty good. Just in general, I like the story of this film as well. It's very traditional haunted house story, but it works. It's essentially the template that would be used later for films like Insidious and stuff like that. In fact, a lot of people compare Insidious to the original Poltergeist, which at some point I will cover the Insidious franchise. Yeah, it's just a great story. That's why a lot of people just kind of try to reuse it and everything like that. And I could see why. I also really dug the pacing of this film. The film clocks in at an hour and 45 minutes, and it does feel like that, actually. It doesn't go... I mean, I will admit, at the pacing kind of is a bit slow at first, but a lot of that is to really get a sense of what these characters are like, the family dynamic, all that stuff, so I think it is warranted. But as the film goes on, it's like, you really don't feel the slow pace. You really don't. And it's much rewarding with that, with everything that goes on. And because of that, I really dug how the film ends and everything like that. I will admit, and this is nitpick, but I think, there didn't need to be that extra bit of, like, scare sequences near the end of the film. Even though some of the scare sequences are iconic, like the scene where the clown doll comes to life and attacks, the rubber character. And I will admit, when I first watched this movie, that scene scared me the most. I hated that clown doll. I hated that. And it's just like so tension filled. It's like, that clown doll is up to something. That clown doll is up to something. It's like, what the hell are you up to? And then when it does happen, it's just like, now I'm no longer, that jump scare doesn't really work for me anymore. But I would say that is a terrific jump scare. That is how you do jump scares, by the way, people. In fact, that's such an iconic moment, and I loved how that scared me as a kid, that I would love to have a replica of that clown doll. Maybe I'll have it sitting on that chair over there, or something, or on these other chairs, I don't know. There's so much I could talk about, but yet there's so much I can't talk about with this film, because one, I don't want to spoil this film for people who haven't seen it, because I mean, there's new people every day, and there's people who still have yet to watch certain movies, but yeah, in fact, I'll tell you how I came across this film. So, I was like around 12, 13, it was like around 2010, 2011, I'm now 25, about to turn 26, so we're having a Halloween party, me and some of my friends. My mom picked up a horror movie. She wanted one that wasn't like too scary or too graphic or whatever, and she saw this with the PG rating, and she was like, yeah, she picked it up. We had it on DVD. I've since upgraded to Blu-ray. I know there's a 4K out of Poltergeist now. I picked that up at some point, but yeah, and we watched it, scared the living crap out of us, and then afterwards, we were trying to do this whole ghost hunting thing, where she took us to a local park which had a forest area and everything like that. We walked in, it was late at night, and scared the hell out of us and everything. And then something odd happened. We came back home. It was me and some of my friends, and the oddest thing happened was I had one of my toy lightsabers just sitting on the couch, and it just turned on by itself. It was not my mom, it was not my dad, it wasn't anybody. And that was very odd. And yeah, that did scare us. That even scared my mom especially. So yeah, and yeah, that was a great time actually, and that's how I got introduced to horror, was through Poltergeist, and was through that night. So yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this film. I have literally no big complaints about it. There's nothing in this film I absolutely hate. So I'm not even going to do my mixed thoughts or my negatives, like stuff that I hate about it, because I don't have either. So move on to my rating. So with that said, I am going to give the original Poltergeist a 5 out of 5 stars. Man, I really love this movie. It's a classic for me, and it's a classic for a lot of people. It's what got me into horror, and what got me to wanting to make horror, essentially. And yeah, I've been hearing they are wanting to remake the original Poltergeist again. This time being directed by the Russo brothers, who directed the 2 Avengers films. And I will say this, Joe Russo and Anthony Russo, if you're watching this, please give if you're going to do this, please pay major respects to this film. It means a lot to so many people. It means a lot to me, and I mean, I just hope you do a great job at it. Because personally, I feel like it's a film that should never be touched, really, by a remake or anything like that. But if you are going to do it right. And do it better than that 2015 remake. I like the 2015 remake fine. I like it better than Poltergeist 3 for sure. But yeah, just do a better job with it and pay a lot of respect to this film and the people who made it, who have lost their lives. Just do that. Do that for me. Do that for a lot of people who love this film. And do that for the people who lost their lives and their families. So that's it for this review. Tell me in the comments what you guys think of the original Poltergeist. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Because I haven't heard anybody who really hates Poltergeist. Or are you somewhat indifferent about it? And also too, do you guys think that this movie series is cursed? Or do you think it's like me and it's just odd coincidence? Odd coincidence that all that stuff happened. It's tragic coincidence. Also, if you like this video, be sure to hit the like button. And if you're new to my channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. It will help me out a great deal. I got more reviews this October coming, so be sure to be on the lookout for them. Thank you guys for watching, and see you next time. What the hell? What the hell is going on here? I didn't click on the remote. Oh shit, this does not look good.